So the objective of today's lesson is to help handicap golfers maximize the amount of distance they can get with their driver, utilizing better mechanics and increasing swing speed. Now, all of this is based on lessons that I've given in the past, so I know that it works. Tip number one, we're going to be optimizing our ball position and our stance to help with an upward strike through impact. So to achieve an upward angle of attack, we want the club to be traveling upwards through the point of impact. So every swing, when it moves around the body, it works in a circle. It's not an exact circle, but you can imagine and you can clearly visualize how it should move. If we want to achieve the optimum conditions at impact, we want that arc, we want that swing to be hitting the ball on an upward trajectory like so. Now, the circle of that swing, your swing center, you can think about it as the middle of your chest. So we want to be moving that center behind the ball with a driver. The simplest way to do this is to get your feet together, pointing at the ball, splay out the lead foot, take a big step with the right or the trail foot, and then all of a sudden, your swing center is behind the ball. So all things being equal, you should be able to bottom out your swing arc before the ball and hit the ball on an upward angle of attack. With the driver, we're looking to create a large amount of power. Now, because of that, we need a good, stable base. So we've got this little drill for making sure that the ball is at the front of the stance. But if you take a big step with that trail foot and your feet are just outside shoulder width, that gives you enough strength and enough stability within your stance to support the extra speed that you're going to be generating. The last thing that we want to achieve with the setup is making sure you have a little bit of spine tilt. Now, normally what would happen is as the bottom hand goes on the club, you'll notice that my trail shoulder is a little bit below my lead shoulder. At times during lessons, you'll see players come in and they'll have a very level shoulder position at address. Now, what that normally means is that as they're getting set up and their shoulders are level, it would possibly indicate that the upper body is aiming too far off to the left-hand side for a right-hander. If you can achieve a level of tilt within the spine, that should bring the shoulders back to a neutral position and once more increase the chances of striking up on the ball. So to build everything from the start, feet together, splay out the lead foot, take a big step with the right so the feet are outside the shoulder width for a stable base. Add that little bit of spine tilt into the setup and we are looking to strike up on the golf ball. High, towering, strong. Also, not a bad view. Second up, we want to be focusing on efficient swing mechanics. Now, this involves making a nice big wide turn and creating speed at the ball, not before it. So more often than not with lessons, one of the biggest issues was achieving a full turn or a full rotation during the backswing, and there are a number of limiting factors. However, with these tips, we should be able to get you making a full backswing turn. Now, very simply, what this looks like, if I pop the club across my shoulder line here and I rotate my body fully away, I have turned away from the ball, my chest is facing away from the target, and the center of my back is facing towards the target. My shoulders have rotated 90 degrees, whichever way you want to look at it. It's moving from here to here. And it's that backswing turn that allows you to create the potential power for delivery into impact. Wow. What are some of these constricting factors that would stop you from having a full turn? Firstly, it might be the tendency to want to rush back to the ball. More on that in a moment. But a nice little tip, first of all, is if you can take that turn away from the ball, getting the lead shoulder underneath the chin, that's a great place to start. If you manage to turn and get the lead shoulder underneath your chin, hopefully the right shoulder will have turned behind. If not, well, you probably need a doctor and not a golf coach. But when you turn away the upper body, remember the lower body does need to get involved. We're not all Rory McIlroy, we're not all Tiger Woods. We don't have the athletic ability to restrict the hips. But even those great players, even those renowned drivers of the golf ball, allow the trail hip to rotate behind them to allow a greater amount of turn. So to put this in perspective, if you're managing to get a full rotation of the upper body, so you're turning away 90 degrees relative to where you started, you want your hips to have turned about 45 degrees. Now, a nice little tip here is on the way back, feel like you're sitting back, feel like the weight and the pressure is moving into the right hip, that it's turning out and behind you. This should allow you to turn, and that should allow you to rotate. If this is a little bit of a struggle, consider letting the lead heel lift off the ground. This was something that all the great players of the past used to do, and it's something that you can do as well if you are struggling. Sometimes it can feel a bit unnatural, but if you turn away, you've got the rotation, you've got the upper body turn, and you allow that lead heel to lift off the ground, it could give you a little bit more of a range of motion. Now, the last little tip, this is something which isn't necessary, but often during lessons, I found it to be very useful. It involves the lead arm. Now, in a lot of golf coaching in the past, because a lot of really good players make this move, there was a tendency to insist that the lead arm, the left arm for a right-handed golfer, had to be straight at the top of the swing. Now, we've seen from modern golf coaching, there's powerful players, there's Jordan Spieth, there's Brooks Koepka, they spring to mind automatically, Lee Westwood for a long, long time. Those players have a little bit of a bend at the top of the swing, and this can actually help create more power because it's a lever. But when coaching normal golfers, what I tended to find is if the lead arm could be kept straight at the top of the swing, it was a great way to actually push the upper body into a full rotation. Now, the simplest drill for this is to grip the club as normal in the left hand for the right-handed golfer. Take the right hand, pop it just below the grip on the back of the arm here, and in the setup position, make the turn and just allow the right hand to push the left arm straight to the top of the swing. This is a great stretch and a great feeling to allow the sensation of what a nice straight arm will be at the top of the swing and what a full turn feels like. So having that lovely full turn on the backswing is what we want. But as mentioned, it only builds up potential power. If we want to deliver a blow through the point of impact, we need our transition to be on point, and we cannot, absolutely cannot rush down at the golf ball. The transition, very simply, is when you reach the top of the backswing and you allow the arms to fall. It's from here to here. This is the area of the swing that we're talking about. And the transition is very important because with lessons, it's often the bit of the swing that really falls apart. The sensation that you get when you come over the top, when you're rushing at the ball, it's often the transition which is going to be going wrong. A nice sensation to stop this rush transition is from the top of the swing, rather than moving the hands and the arms, the first thing that you want to move is a little bit of weight shift into the lead foot. So we get to the top of the swing after that full turn, transition into the lead foot, and just notice that as we put weight forward, the arms will naturally drop. And it's through this that you can achieve a proper sequence. And often we get asked in lessons why the very best players in the world, they seem to hit the ball so far whilst being relaxed and making a slow swing. And it's because of that smooth transition. It's from here to here, there's no rush. Because from this part of the swing into impact, that's where the real force and power is applied. So how can you put all those technical aspects into practice? What are the drills that you can use? The first one is all about tee height. So we know that we want to hit up on the golf ball. Now just notice that when my driver sits behind the ball, half of the ball is above the top of the driver. So the top edge of the driver is splitting the ball's equator. Now this allows enough room underneath the golf ball to hit up. If the ball is teed very low, you can see just how much the driver face actually covers the golf ball. Now what that means is it's going to be very difficult to get underneath, and golfers are going to be more likely to hit down. So make sure when you're teeing the golf ball up that it is sitting above the club. A drill you can use to practice here is peg the ball up as shown, but then knock the ball off the tee, because the whole point of this is we want to be practicing clipping the very top of the head of the tee. If you could do that with a practice swing, then there's absolutely no reason why you can't strike up on the ball. So get set up as normal, and your whole focus here is just to hit the very top of the tee. Take it out of the ground. Oh, I actually did it too well. It stayed in there. Oh, look, just dinted it. That tee may not be able to take a ball now. There we go. The second tip, to help with the transition, we can use something called a step drill. Very, very simple. It's getting set up to the golf ball as normal, moving the left foot, the lead foot, a little bit back so the ball is positioned way outside the lead foot. Take the ball off to begin with here as well. Get yourself set up, move to the top of the golf swing, a nice full turn, and then take a step towards impact. Now what this allows you to do is simulate what it feels like to transfer the weight into the point of impact. So that setup, pull the lead foot back, try and have a nice backswing, full turn, step into impact. And same again, try and clip away the tee peg. I literally can't do anything but just clip the very top of it. This is really special. Thanks for joining me for this moment. There we go. Oh, I broke it now. Now it's a complete disaster. I wonder if this drill has ever been performed on a better looking hole. Oh, absolutely smoked it as well. God, what a view. Now the last drill is all about generating speed, and this is a really handy one because you don't actually need to be at a range or a course to practice this. You can do this in the garden, you can do this inside, as long as you've got a nice high roof. And what I've done here is I've taken a driver head off my shaft. You can also use an alignment stick for this. It does exactly the same thing. It's called the whoosh drill. And I love this drill because it gives feedback, not via impact, not via where the ball is flying, but by noise, an audio feedback drill. So if your transition is not smooth, the actual whoosh noise will come early in your swing. It'll come here. What we want to do is swing through and create that whoosh at the point of impact or just after. What this will show is that the speed is being generated through impact and not prior. If you've not done this before, it's actually a lot harder than it looks because it's so tempted to plow on the power here. You've got to take your time and really just whoosh it through impact. So here are the key takeaways from today's Swing Quest video. And again, these are all based on lessons that I've done in the past. Get down in those comments below, let us know if you've used any of them before and if any of these have helped you out with your game. Also, if you are new to the Swing Quest channel, hit subscribe. And if you want more help with your game, check out these Swing Quest videos here.